Hello friends, H5 here and welcome to my indie game devlog, episode 1. For the past weeks, I have been working on making a proof of concept. I'm trying to see if my artistic vision for the game would work out. I mean, we already kinda did with the Game Jam game, but now it's time for me to actually work on the game. Before I started the devlog series, I work on concepts and studies of how people from the main character's tribe would look like. On the left side is how pre-colonial Filipinos are usually depicted, topless with simple garments. As you can see, the guy is wearing the iconic bahag, which is cloth tied around the lower half of the male. This study is closer to the historical depictions of pre-colonial Filipinos, especially on the commoner or lower branches of their social hierarchy. In the center is how tribes that have been bartering or trading with nearby islands and colonies are usually depicted. They have more intricate clothing and they tend to wear more accessories. Some notable people, proud warriors or leaders, actually wear bird skulls and beaks on their head. This is to symbolize their power or their status. On the right side is an unfinished study, but it was meant to be the middle ground for the studies I previously mentioned. It wasn't finished because I already felt pretty satisfied with the ideas I played with, and I felt like if I'm gonna play with more versions of these, it would be on specific character concepts already. Speaking of characters, I made a sprite of the main character. We intend to use Unity's skeletal animation feature. So the character is chopped up in pieces to make sure that we can animate them separately later on. It's a little bit gruesome, but that's how game development works. Apparently, you can now import PSB files into Unity, and that would import the layers the way you set it up in Photoshop. That wasn't a thing before, and that makes a lot of things more convenient. So, thanks Unity! I set up the character skeleton like a mad scientist, made sure the mesh weights made sense, and started animating. This is something like a draft. I accept that in later iterations, this character might change entirely. So I just made a simple idle and walk animation. Initially, I was satisfied with the idea of the character walking around in just plain grass, but I also had something else I wanted to test. I wanted to try adding in simple background elements, and by simple, I meant a freaking house. So I got into researching traditional Filipino huts and started drawing one. If you're wondering about the translucent boxes, that's my unit of measurement, and it also helps me make sure that I am drawing in the right perspective. You could also see little bits of my references on the sides, so maybe you could just ignore that. I actually had a little bit of experience sleeping in a Filipino hut. My parents came from the lovely island of Palawan, and whenever we visit my lolo, or grandfather, we would stay in his humble fisherman's hut. It's cozy. I love the cool breeze at night, the warm kiss of the morning, and the smell of the ocean just a few steps away from where I sleep. Old Filipino huts are elevated for different purposes. Since the country is an archipelago, there are a lot of settlements near the ocean. Back then, they had to make sure that structures stay above water, most especially when the high tide comes in. So they had elevated houses. For settlements that aren't really near the ocean, the houses are elevated to protect themselves from wild animals. The higher you are from the ground, the less likely unwanted animals would join you in your sleep, or in some cases, keep you asleep for eternity. So there you go. Unfortunately, my programmer got sick, so this is as much progress as we got. The good news is, he's feeling better now and he's already working on implementing this into the game. So hopefully we get to see this little person walk around the engine soon. I did draw a bunch of trees, but those aren't really done yet, so maybe next time. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give a thumbs up. I will be posting videos every other week. Next time, I hope to show you more concept art and maybe introduce you to some characters. This is episode 1 of this indie game devlog. Thank you, friends, for tuning in. Be nice, be curious, and as always, see you next time.